Greetings, welcome to the Prime Directive. I'm your host, Jeffico. My co-host is always Chris. Say hi, Chris.
Hello.
Chris, what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to be jumping right into Star Trek 09, our first film in the JJ verse.
And our final one that we have to review. Chris, what are your initial thoughts?
This is the third time we've seen the JJ verse here on the show, and this is the first movie that's come out. I remember when this first came out, I was a younger Star Trek fan, and I was not happy. Everything was wrong, Jeff.
Yeah, they did not do anything right.
Everything was wrong, and everything was lens flares, and they blew up Vulcan. How can you do that?
But they showed us Leonard Nimoy and told us that it's still Star Trek. The whole moral of the story is still Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. And I think, coming back to it years later, it's not as bad as I thought it was. I think it's fine.
I don't think I can crap on it as much as Into Darkness, that's for sure.
Yes, especially compared to that. Yeah. I think they were actually doing some good stuff here.
They didn't copy anything. There was no ribbon through space, destroying things. Mm-hmm. That's like 4 Star Trek movies right there. This one starts out, well, I guess with a tear in space. But out comes this giant octopus mining vessel.
Yeah. And I think that'll be my first nitpick is, what the heck is that ship doing? Like, what are all the claws for? What are all the teeth doing?
I think they're there to extend and, retract and look cool.
Even though, it's a future space mining ship. But why does your mining ship gotta look like that, bro?
And have so much, wicked weapons. Granted, maybe they're not as effective in the 24th century.
Yeah.
But they were pretty effective back here. We see Thor.
We do see Thor.
He gets the captaincy pretty quickly there.
And like I said before, going back and watching this movie, it was weird because I'm like, that's not Kirk's dad, that's Thor.
Yeah.
Why's Kirk got Thor blood? Actually, that explains a lot.
Well, when you originally watched it, though, he wasn't Thor.
Mm-hmm.
So that made it easier.
Yes.
Also, the original captain, it's nice to see him not playing a terrorist. Faran Tahir, he's almost always cast as one. I'm pretty sure he's Canadian.
Yeah, that was good. He did a good job. You were saying everyone's bald in this.
Yeah, all the Romulans are bald, that's for sure.
And they didn't look like Romulans.
And maybe it was the tattoos.
Yeah. They had no Romulan going on.
Act like Romulans either.
No.
I figure, they're just a motley, rebellious crew.
Mm-hmm. I think they just said they were Romulan.
Yeah. They did have
Everybody
pointy ears, but that was about it.
Yeah.
So I guess let's run through the rest of this. I'm gonna complain a lot about lens flares because they're ridiculous. I remember them being bad, but rewatching it, wow, they're everywhere.
I don't notice them unless I'm looking for them. People constantly rag on the lens flares in the JJ movies, and they're correct. There are a lot of them, but unless I'm going in there to notice it, I don't. They're just there, and they don't affect my viewing.
I know that they doubled the amount of lens flares for Into Darkness, but I actually really noticed them more watching it this one. So Chris, how about the big-eyed nurse taking care of Kirk's wife there?
Yeah, we got movie budget now, so we're not limited to weird forehead aliens anymore. We can get weird eye aliens.
Yeah, a little CGI there.
Haha.
I gotta say we're... A pun not intended. I gotta say, where were the temporal police here? I feel like Voyager introduced something that nobody else is ever gonna use.
Yeah. Well, at some point during their many timescapades, Voyager just deleted the temporal police.
Yeah, I guess they just took them over. Be like, you work for us now, except you're not gonna help us at all.
Yeah.
We can name him after your father.
Tiberius, you kidding me? No, that's the worst. Let's name him after your dad. Let's call him Jim.
Kirk, basically, George Kirk, sacrifices himself, does ramming his ship there, but his wife giving birth in record time, faster than Troy.
Yeah, I get. No, I thought that was a really good scene. That was a powerful opening scene.
Yeah, it's supposed to get
they got a lot of emotion going on there, and that was a real good way to start the movie off.
Yeah, and it explains why Kirk's a little rebellious shit in the beginning too. Listening to his Beastie Boys.
Yep. And I love that they came around and did that again and beyond.
We get to hear Greg Gunberg as Kirk's stepdad on the phone.
Oh,
give me back my car.
Yeah, that's an antique.
And I guess
On top of Cliff now.
later he becomes Commander Finnegan in Star Trek Beyond.
Oh.
So I doubt it's the same character, but wouldn't that be interesting? So we get a nice little callback of young Spock taking tests.
And that's also right out of the animated series.
Well, I was going to say it was right out of Star Trek 4, but sure.
No, it is the little pods that's, or the little learning pits that was in the animated series. And we just keep going back to that. We saw it again in Discovery, and we've seen it here.
JJ would never steal stuff. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is your 35th attempt to elicit an emotional response from me.
You're neither human nor Vulcan and therefore have no place in this universe.
Look, it's human eyes.
I can't believe that it took them 35 attempts to piss Spock off.
I love Vulcan bullying. I remember watching that in the theater, and I was just like, this is a great idea. I want to see young children Vulcan bullying each other. What's that like?
It still fell back on, like, your mother's a whore.
Yeah, but it was logical. Logically, your mother's a whore.
He's a traitor, you know. Your father, for marrying her, that human whore.
So we get a different Serac, we get different Spock's mom Amanda, Winona Ryder there, and I thought they both did a good job.
Yeah, they did fine. They didn't have a whole lot to do. It wasn't really about them, but...
Well, I mean, his father had to ground him later on in the movie.
And his mom got grounded.
Yeah, quite literally. His mom was a big part of him not going to the Vulcan Science Academy. I wonder if that's what happened in the Prime universe.
Yeah, maybe. That felt like, I don't think much of Spock's life was affected too much by the events. Like, that felt like it could have been right out of the Prime universe there.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed when I was watching this, is I was like, what would actually, still be normal, and what would still be JJ? We jump back to Earth, where Kirk's at a bar, getting Cardassian sunrises around.
No, that was Uhura.
Well, yeah, she ordered him. Pointing out that they knew of Cardassia at that point. We're in TOS, we didn't hear shit about Cardassia.
Would we have known about them? There was the border war that Miles was in. I don't know when we actually had first contact with Cardassians.
Yeah, we should have done some research on that. Oh well.
For a moment there, I thought you were just a dumb hick who only has sex with farm animals.
Well, not only.
How about that security guy? He's all like, hey, I got 3 friends with me. Like, you're a big dude. I don't think you need them.
Oh, apparently he did. Kirk got a couple good hits in. The only reason he didn't win that fight is because he doesn't know how to do the 2-hand punch yet.
Yeah, he hasn't been trained it yet.
Yeah.
We do get Pike's inspirational speech to recruit him.
I would say it's a little weird that he says enlist in Starfleet, because that's a military thing, and you're supposed to enroll in Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, I remember not enrolling in Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
I also find it funny that Pike was just like, oh, you could have your own ship in 8 years, and it's like Kirk should just been like, nah, 3 years.
3 years, yeah. You're all gonna die.
That's all it's gonna take.
Yeah, give me the good one too. Give me the flagship.
Put the kid in charge of the flagship.
Oh,
Why the fuck is the Enterprise being built on Earth? Like, I think me and a bunch of other Star Trek nerds are all like, this is wrong!
That is wrong. It should be probably Utopia Planitia.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Doesn't make much sense to build spaceships on the ground. It looked nice.
Well, it's also like, for one, did the Enterprise have, landing gear ever?
Yeah.
I mean, D didn't even have landing gear, and that was another century.
Voyager did, but I think that's the only one that's had actual...
Voyager's the only one that we saw.
Yeah.
I bet you Prometheus did too. That thing had everything.
Yeah, it had everything.
I'd say Karl Urban's probably the most entertaining part of this movie, just for how perfectly he played Bones.
Yeah, well, everyone's been saying since these came out, Karl Urban's just been killing it every time.
Yeah.
He's a dead ringer for DeForest Kelley.
I mean, everybody kind of grow into it, I think, but Karl Urban started out perfect.
Well, I hate to break this to you, but Starfleet operates in space.
Yeah, well, I've got nowhere else to go. The ex-wife took the whole damn planet in a divorce. All I got left is my bones.
And you get that JJ connections with Zachary Quinto because they work together in other television shows.
Mm-hmm.
Time jump again, another 3 years, because, validity. And we got a green Rachel Nichols as a sexy Orion slave cadet.
Yeah, she's earned her freedom.
Yeah.
She's gonna go to Starfleet Academy. Are these the same sexy Orion slave girls that we've established in Enterprise actually just control everyone around them with their pheromones?
Well...
Is that canon here?
I would assume that she probably shouldn't exist, and she was thrown in there to make everybody smile.
Yeah, because of course Kirk's got to sleep with the green
Because it
chick.
wasn't like they discovered them out there.
Yeah.
Like, I guess Enterprise found them first.
Maybe it's just like, did they actually say she's Orion? Maybe she's just a different green girl.
I never saw an Orion with red hair before.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe she's not Orion.
Maybe.
Though I think it says Orion on her IMDb. What do you think of finally seeing the Kobayashi Maru?
We are receiving a distress signal from the USS Kobayashi Maru. The ship has lost power and is stranded. Starfleet Command has ordered us to rescue them.
Starfleet Command has ordered us to rescue them, Captain.
That was great. I did like that. I've always wanted to see how it got done. And it looks like Kirk had to fight to get his commendation for original, thinking they were gonna bash him out. Yeah. Also, that was just such a strange scene. Why was everyone assembled for Kirk's little disciplinary thing? Wouldn't they just call you into the office or something?
Exactly. That was a big thing for me too. I was just like, this doesn't make sense. Like,
yeah.
And like,
surely this room full of people has something else to do.
Like, seriously, how much trouble is he gonna get in that they need this big of a room to court-martial this poor kid who cheated on a test, which is a cheat itself? Clearly, like, he'd be in some office and Admiral would be like, I like what you did, you shouldn't have done it, but it's good thinking. Yeah. Kind of like how Picard, gets stabbed in the heart and impresses an Admiral because there's like little, never give up fighting ability.
Never give up, never surrender.
Yeah.
I said, you are a coward. That's what I thought you said.
You motherfucker! For Christ's sake! In your face.
Spock takes a couple of insults shots at Kirk there, but like he didn't like it when it happened to him.
No, he can dish it out, but he can't take it going after someone else's parents.
I tell you, and it's even later when Kirk fires back about like his parents. So you couldn't save your mother. And
yeah, loses it.
That's when the fight starts. But we get the little Vulcan distress call there.
You.
Big day tomorrow.
You're gonna fail.
Yeah, let's see you around.
Get out.
If I pass, will you tell me your first name?
No! Good night.
I think the fact that you picked up a transmission is very interesting.
Everybody runs off. I mean, you get Uhura bitching at Spock, being like, ain't I the best? Why aren't I in the Enterprise?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll fix that.
Yeah.
And then, Kirk's got to get infected with some disease to get aboard.
Smuggle him on. That was pretty funny. Because Bones was so fast and loose with the hypo spray and TOS, and they're really leaning on that here. Just
this should hear it. Oh, side effect from that. Here, I got something for that.
Yeah.
One issue I had watching this again was timeline. Why would this crew be assembled and be on the Enterprise when you imagine the first flight of the Enterprise with Pike would have had a crew that wasn't these people?
Here's what I imagine. Most admirals at Starfleet have a Guinan that they just listen to. And they're just like, no, it feels something's wrong with this universe. This person needs to be on the Enterprise. And all the admirals are like, oh, okay, Guinan, sure. And then they get that together at the bar and they're like, hey, my Guinan said that this guy's supposed to be on the Enterprise. My Guinan said that too. And I think that's the only way I can justify the cadets running the show at the end of this. It's because they got like a cabal of Guinans that just agree this is correct.
That does somehow make sense. Though the cadets seem to be oddly more qualified than the actual people stationed to this ship. Like, take Uhura, for instance. The guy couldn't differentiate Vulcan from Romulan.
Yeah.
Scan Vulcan space, check for any transmissions in Romulan.
Sir, I'm not sure I can distinguish the Romulan language from Vulcan.
What about you? You speak Romulan, Cadet?
Uhura. All 3 dialects, sir.
Uhura, relieve the lieutenant.
That's true. I feel like for this series, they didn't want Uhura to be Uhura. They've made her Hoshi. Because Uhura was the communications officer. We know she couldn't speak other languages, because in Star Trek 6, like, she's trying real hard.
Yeah.
She's giving it her best, but she doesn't speak Klingon.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, we saw in Into Darkness that this Uhura speaks Klingon quite fluently.
Well, I guess timeline-wise, I mean, you gotta think in Enterprise they ran into the Klingons, so they want people to learn the Klingon language. So by the time you hit TOS, cadets should be knowing this. So the fact that I think all that came out beforehand is playing slow catch-up here.
Yeah. And I think, you know, it does make sense. It gives her a lot more to do than just answer the phone or whatever. But yeah, she can speak apparently Romulan and Vulcan and
3
Klingon
dialects of Romulan.
Yeah, all of that. So she's just Hoshi.
So that brings me right back to the 47 Klingon ships getting destroyed. And Pike didn't know shit about that.
2,300 hours last night, there was an attack. 47 Klingon warbirds destroyed by Romulans, sir, and it was reported that the Romulans were in one ship, one massive ship.
And you know of this Klingon attack. How?
Sir, I intercepted and translated the message myself.
Yeah, I would think such a large event that was picked up would be known.
Yeah, well, I think Uhura just picked that up on like her secret space telescope lab or something. Like she was talking about intercepting a message, and it was in Klingon. So I guess whatever official Starfleet channels weren't monitoring that. Like I guess this was just sort of like a hobby thing. She had her hobby stuff in the area.
This was also our first introduction to the Apple I Bridge. And I gotta say, even at this start of the scene, I was just like overwhelmed with the amount of lens flares. Like every shot had to have 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I'm like, can I see the ship, please?
I kind of like the I Bridge.
Yeah.
It works.
So advanced. I missed the buttons. You have to turn and the knobs.
The switches.
Yeah, those are great. They get over to Vulcan. Sue's got to do some great piloting there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The cadets are not better than everyone at their jobs. The regular guy had worms or whatever.
Yeah.
Sulu didn't take the parking brake off.
Couldn't figure out the parking brake yet. But he managed to pilot pretty good. Kirk got promoted pretty quickly to first officer.
Why?
I don't understand
why.
That. For one, okay, so the space drill is causing interference. I get it. You can't beam down to the planet because of the space drill. You should.
Also, why though?
Oh, I don't know why. However, it shouldn't stop transport from ship to ship in space.
Yeah.
So why does Pike have to take the shuttle like the last captain had to over to Nero? It's like his tradition. Like, oh, I want them to fly here and know they're going to die.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, okay. Captain's leaving the ship. He doesn't have to promote people.
No, he doesn't.
Kirk, I'm promoting you to first officer.
What?
Captain, please, I apologize. The complexities of human pranks escape me.
It's not a prank, Spock. And I'm not the captain. You are.
There's someone immediately below Spock that's just given this a whole WTF.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, they just did it really quickly and hoped you wouldn't notice. It's just like, you're the first officer now, kid.
Well, you know,
why?
That's the JJ verse here. Everybody gets jumped around and promoted.
It's because Pike's Guinan told him to.
He's eventually going to be captain, so you might as well.
Yeah.
We get the atmospheric jump in those suits. I guess they can survive jumping through an atmosphere when most shuttlecrafts can't.
You got the charges, right?
Oh yeah. Can't wait to kick some Romulan ass. Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Olson's a fucking idiot.
Red suit's gonna red suit.
It's this important mission, and the guy's like, whoa, yeah.
Yeah, party was kick some Romulan butt, yeah.
I'm gonna wait till the last second, and I deserve it.
I'm holding the bomb.
Yeah. And Sulu managed to find himself a sword fight. Good thing, you know? Still got his butt kicked though.
Yeah.
For a guy that was,
Got the judo flip in there though.
Yeah. I enjoyed watching that event burn that Romulan.
Mm-hmm.
Before calling him
again, Romulan.
Yeah, I want to do that. It's good. Scotty manages to beam them up when they're falling. Or no, that wasn't Scotty.
That was Chekov.
Yeah.
That was Chekov.
And we haven't even seen Scotty yet.
Well, we have 2 different transporter geniuses in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he actually made it from the bridge down the turbolift, which turbolift takes different times depending on the scene.
It's context sensitive.
And he manages to pull it off when I think they would have fallen the landing on their death there.
Yeah, and there's the cadet being magically better at it than whoever's staffing the flagship at the time.
Yeah, better than whatever transporter chief you have. But then he fails when Winona Ryder falls a little bit further.
I guess he had a lot more people to concentrate on at the time. I don't know.
Computer does have the job for you. You just push some buttons. How many times has Picard been like, it's been a while, but I can figure this out.
But
Yeah. You just make the sounds, it works. I did enjoy Spock going down to the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get to see some classic TOS stuff there too, right?
I was really happy with the Vasquez rocks on Vulcan. Although I think that was closer to the start of the movie when he was growing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, there wasn't just one Vasquez rocks. There were like 5 of them all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's good that if you squint, you can see the Gorn.
I enjoyed watching the Vulcans use their logic and hide inside a collapsing cave.
Yeah, I've always been a little confused on the topic of Vulcan religion. Why do they have that?
Yeah, it doesn't seem very logical.
I guess there's I get the mental discipline and the meditation, but they have like gods and they worship stuff. They got temples.
Yeah. They don't have shuttles apparently.
No.
They would have sent out a distress call and started evacuating. They have no planetary defenses, clearly.
Mm-mm.
So we get to see Vulcan get destroyed. Chris, how did you feel about that when you saw that?
I mean, the first time I saw it, like I said, that rubbed me the wrong way. The second time, I guess, I know what the purpose of the scene was. The purpose of the scene was, this is not your dad's Star Trek. This is going to be different. We can do whatever we want in this universe. And that works. We're just going to eliminate something very, very important, and so everything's going to be way different from here. We're not just going to copy-paste a different movie for the next movie. Because it's going to be different.
But that's exactly what they did, Chris.
Thank you, that was the joke.
I know. Uhura throwing herself at Spock after that.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see that they've actually been in a relationship this whole time.
There was a hint of that in the first episode of TOS, but they dropped that real quick.
Yeah, it took them a while to build towards interracial relationships there on TOS.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
What did you think about Nero and his "Hello, Christopher"?
Nero was very inconsistent tonally. Some scenes he was just angry and a little crazy. Some scenes he was very... he had a very commanding presence about him, and he was actually somewhat intimidating. And then sometimes he's calling out the Enterprise and be like, "Oh, hello, Christopher. Yeah, come on over here." Whatever. I feel like they were going for him sort of losing his mind over the 25 years, but they didn't really put much effort into showing you that. No, I feel like there were some scenes cut or something showing a little bit of a slide in Nero's mental state.
Well, he did like to show his victims a slideshow of his wife and family.
Mm-hmm. Get some exposition going.
Yeah, but it's been 25 years. If you were that motivated to destroy people and stuff, I don't think you'd wait around for Spock to reappear, because you didn't know when he was going to reappear.
So, well, he said they had some calculations or something.
Yeah, I guess they showed up at the exact spot when he did too, yeah. But... still, that's a long time to wait.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see some Centaurian slugs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Little callback. They didn't really steal anything though, so that's good.
No, it's fine. References are all good.
A lot of conflict on that Enterprise bridge.
Yep. Lots of yelling.
And what would have made logical sense, if at all made sense, would be putting Kirk into Brig.
That's what Brigs are for.
Yeah. You don't escape from that unless you know them like the back of your hand.
Yeah.
But launching him off the ship was ridiculous.
Onto an ice planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, like why? Why Spock?
Yeah, he hadn't even really antagonized him yet.
Yeah.
You get this Star Wars moment. Always a bigger fish.
Yeah, the creatures are very Star Wars. But, you know, whenever we see really alien aliens in Star Trek, I always think Star Wars.
So we're used to practical effects and...
we're used to weird foreheads, and that's about it.
Always using humanoid bodies. Yeah. That's really been a staple of Star Trek, and only now that their budgets are expanding a bit do we get a bit of that. Mm-hmm. And even then, Orville's the one that's got the different life form on the thing with the outfit.
Outfit. But I've always wanted a goo crew member.
Discovery
like
doesn't
a gaseous crew member or something like
Discovery doesn't really have that.
I have been and always shall be your friend.
Kirk runs into Spock. Our Spock. So, like, is it okay that we can, like, still be angry at this movie now that we've got Spock?
Nope. That's why he's there.
Yeah.
Fanboys can't be mad.
Yeah, they want you to realize that this the whole message is just like a Star Trek episode, except, you know, we're staying here and not going back.
Nimoy had a lot to do in this movie.
Yeah, well, he had a lot of exposition, too. Yeah. That mind meld was...
I love how they always jump back and forth with how, important a mind meld is, because sometimes it's, like, this super intimate thing, and Picard and Sarek share a mind meld, and they're always a part of each other. And Spock can, like, sense some of Sarek in Picard, and sometimes it's like, you know what, I don't want to talk about it, just bleh.
Oh, well, Discovery went nuts with the mind meld, like, I can tell where you are.
Like Voyager, Tuvok was just mind melding with anything that moved. That was the solution to half the episodes.
Did his mind meld help him travel back in time to the Excalibur? Where, if you actually pay attention, he had human ears?
Fascinating. What?
Okay, I'm sure you're just doing your job, but could you not come a wee bit sooner? 6 months I've been here, living off Starfleet protein nibs and the promise of a good meal. And I know exactly what's going on here, okay? Punishment, isn't it? Ongoing.
Do really enjoy the running into Scotty on that planet. I thought that was a nice way not to just have somebody suddenly on the ship for the sake of being on the ship. Mm-hmm. But like we said, he got promoted fast.
Yeah, well, I don't think we got anything as to why Scotty was suddenly running engineering at the end.
Being friends with the captain pays off.
Must be.
We did get the reference to Admiral Archer's beagle.
Mm-hmm.
Though, would Admiral Archer been around?
Porthos certainly not.
Because
I guess that would have been a fairly aged Admiral Archer.
I recall us talking about Discovery and how, like, it could be cool if Archer was there, but that doesn't really timeline make sense, even though it's 10 years before TOS.
Yeah. This is like, what, how far before that? Maybe 10 years before that?
I would say, well, again, you try to add the age of the cadets and everybody into that, it doesn't really make sense. But even if we said it was 10 years, Archer be dead.
Yeah, that's an old man, Archer.
Yeah.
He's looking like Bones in the first episode of TNG.
I am happy with that kind of future where we can make our dogs live forever.
Yeah.
Whenever.
Yeah. Archer was long dead, but it was the prized beagle of Admiral Archer.
And all the other admirals felt that he should be punished for that.
Yes. Yeah,
his immortal beagle.
Yeah.
Also, transport beaming. We talked about this a lot in our Into Darkness review, but no.
Is that even the same technology? I don't think it was quite the same thing.
Yeah, it was the stuff he said. He stole my equations for transport beaming and this and that.
Yeah.
How did they even beam onto Enterprise? How did they know where it was?
They didn't even do it right. He ended up in the tube.
They should have ended up in the tube at the very least.
Yeah.
Finally, somebody didn't beam perfectly. I would have aimed for the transporter pad. Should be able to detect that.
Yeah.
What is it like not to feel anger, or heartbreak, or the need to stop at nothing to avenge the death of the woman who gave birth to you?
Back away from
You feel nothing. It must not even compute for you.
Then we get Kirk following Spock's advice to piss off Spock.
Yeah. And he just I am so mad that I'm gonna let you be captain.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm clearly emotionally compromised. You go right ahead.
Yeah.
And
That's
Bowen's
a great
like,
idea.
Oh, you left us without a captain. Not exactly. No, Pike promoted him to first officer. What? I agree with you, Bones. What?
What? Why?
It doesn't even make sense. Now, I like this kid. He's gonna make a good first officer one day.
Yeah.
Not
also, isn't he still technically like under arrest or whatever? Just because he got back on the ship doesn't mean he's suddenly back in the command structure.
No, Chris, if you want to be promoted, just get yourself onto a ship.
Yeah.
You never know what could happen.
He's there. He takes these back, so he's like an Article 3, Section 5.
If a captain likes you, I mean, look at Lorca. You're court-martialed. No, now you're part of my crew.
Yeah.
I like this ship.
You know, it's exciting.
Spock and his dad have a moment, and I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed the whole, like, trying to explain to his son, be like, oh, I married your mother because I loved her.
Yep.
And it was logical. But, yeah, that's like Spock's coming to terms because he's still part of two different worlds.
Yeah, he hasn't figured it out.
Even though he's got a girlfriend. So I guess that little talk was enough for him to, help Kirk out, beam over to Nero's ship, take him on.
Yeah.
Take on these Romulans.
Don't look like Romulans, don't act like Romulans.
They had a lot of little jokes like this one where Scotty says like, oh, I'm going to beam you to the cargo bay, no one will be around, and they beam dead.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of little jokes like that.
Sad trombone. Wah, wah.
Yeah. What do you think of the design of Spock's little spaceship?
That was pretty cool. I like the spinny bits.
Yeah, it's nice and different. When Kirk's fighting Nero's henchman and he says the line, I've got your gun, I thought it would have been way better had he actually had the gun.
Yeah, and it would have been a reveal instead of, I got your gun, that he takes the gun.
Yeah.
Now you demonstrably did.
Like, oh, your super strength has 0 reaction speed.
Yeah.
Even though we've seen you, jump long distances. Like, wouldn't they just build stairs or ramps? But everybody just kept jumping.
Yeah. Well, that's how you get your exercise in, right?
Yeah. What happens when you have a bad day and you don't make that jump?
You're not cut out to be a miner.
We did get to see that flippy gun thing you like.
I do like that. Did we see that in the other Kelvinverse movies with the where it flipped from stun to kill?
I don't remember it flipped, but
I don't think we did.
I would think they would have kept it.
I thought it was a great effect. I love that in Discovery. They got a little click.
Nero, order your men to disable the drill or I will...
I know your face.
Kirk saves Pike there, and they gotta escape back.
So we get him in the wheelchair at the end. Haha, cute reference.
Yeah, except he's not speaking through buttons and beeps and stuff. The whole opening up a black hole and then hanging around to see if Nero wants assistance, then watching Nero's ship get sucked in before you escape the hell out of there. Yeah. I feel like these overqualified cadets skip the lesson on black holes.
Yeah. Also, the black hole should have eaten him a lot quicker. I mean, especially with what we saw it do to Vulcan.
And, would it have gone away? Or is it now an
it
issue?
didn't go away. It's still there.
Yeah, so that's pretty close to Earth.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it could literally be above Kronos. That's that close to Earth.
Oh, rude. I mean, it does depend on how massive the black hole is.
Yeah.
It would have different effects. But yeah, I was thinking that's like 2 minutes away from Earth at warp.
How do you put a warning buoy out there for that?
Yeah.
It just keeps getting stuck.
That might be a problem.
Yeah.
I would rather suffer the end of Romulus 1,000 times. I would rather die in agony than accept assistance from you.
You got it.
The ship got some major structural damage, which we know happens again and again. But it was like literally cracked.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would have felt safe going out to warp.
Which they didn't because they ejected their warp core.
It's true. It's true. How'd they get away then?
Slowly?
Yeah. The explosions.
And they waited for a tow.
The explosion of the warp core didn't destroy the vessel, which is surprising.
Since my customary farewell would appear oddly self-serving, I shall simply say, good luck.
Back at Starfleet Command, Spock meets Spock.
Mm-hmm.
I love the, I'd give you my usual custom, like, goodbye, but that seems oddly self-serving.
I thought that was a good line. Yeah, they still know how to write Spock.
Yeah, maybe Spock just knows and he changed it.
Yeah, maybe, well, I guarantee you Nimoy knows how to write Spock.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, the greatest travesty of all, Kirk gets the ship. We're gonna promote you to captain. Even though we were just gonna shit in front of you, like shit on you in front of all these people about how you cheated.
I really want to complain about that, but I also feel kind of dumb doing it because it's just the central conceit of the film. And the film's about what if, young, sexy Star Trek was in charge. That's the plot line, or that's the pitch they gave to the executives, and that's how this movie got made. So complaining about the fact that it's younger, sexier Star Trek just seems just like such a waste of time. But it also it makes the least sense out of every single thing.
Long before this movie came out, when I was like 14-year-old Jeff and I was writing my Star Trek story, I literally had a captain, or not a captain, but this character do this amazing thing to save the Federation. He didn't get promoted to captain then. It took 10 years. And that was like
for it.
A 14-year-old Jeff. I had more Star Trek logic than JJ today.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you can kind of buy maybe Kirk saving the day this one time, but we're gonna make you captain of the flagship.
Well, how about at the end?
We're gonna keep your whole crew of cadets. You guys, just like 6 cadets. Do you want to boss around this entire ship full of professional adults that have been doing this for like 20 years and aren't captain? You want to do that? That's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Well, how about at the end there when they're about to take off and Spock's just like, hey, you need a first officer? Like,
as you have yet to select a first officer, respectfully, I would like to submit my candidacy. Should you desire, I can provide character references.
Well, yeah, shit, we were gonna leave without one. Good thing you're here.
Shit, you've been a commander for like how long?
Yeah.
And Kirk just shows up and is the captain now.
I think that, even though the exchange between Spock and Spock was great, I think that he should have told him something along the lines of, stick with Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Be his first officer. Say something like that, because then, not that they cared, but it would have made a little more sense.
A little bit more, but yeah, the only thing I can come up with to explain the kids running the show is the Secret Council of Guidance.
Yeah.
You give me something. Why are the kids running the show, Jeff?
Because JJ doesn't know better. He's just like, I'm gonna do a Star Trek kind of reboot, but we'll do some time travel so that it still makes sense and Star Trek fans won't just be pissed that we rebooted everything. But
Star Trek fans are always pissed.
Well, yeah, but I don't think he looked into the fact that, where would Chekov be at this point? Like, he wasn't really on the Enterprise, maybe in the lower decks first season, but yeah. So I mean, a lot of these guys haven't been on the ship yet.
Other than that huge glaring problem, I think it was a pretty good film.
Armed phasers, fire everything we've got.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was an entertaining film, and one thing I really enjoyed, watching it with people that weren't Star Trek fans, was watching them sort of become Star Trek fans, whether it's New Age Star Trek fans or not. Mm-hmm. It was nice to see somebody that didn't care for Star Trek take interest in Star Trek.
Yeah, and that's, as much hate as the new films generate, they've really done a lot of good for the franchise in that way. They were very accessible to new people. And you will see a lot of people, online or in real life saying, I got into Star Trek because of the new JJ movies. It was always just, like this old person thing. It was something my dad did, or it was just for dorks. But I really like these films, and they start to look into it more.
That's like my one disappointment in, I'd say, Discovery, not to go too far off topic, but they brought all this interest in, and then Discovery kind of went in the same direction, where I felt there was a bridge there. You could have brought him into a TNG era and then like interest people like this is kind of what Star Trek's supposed to be, but we're still young, hip, and cool.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, I'm gonna go back and rewatch all the other Star Trek and build your fan base. Because as they've said for a long time, like before these JJ movies, Star Trek fans are dying off.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. Like they're getting too old.
Yeah.
And so you got to build a new fan base. Like even with Star Wars and their little flashy stuff now, like. You do it to build a new fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah. From a Klingon prison planet.
No.
Yeah. A Klingon armada was destroyed. 47 ships.
So you're not going back to the lab tonight?
So yeah, overall for me, there were things that drove me nuts when I first watched it.
Yeah.
I'm mostly over it. Not the lens flares, clearly.
No.
But in comparison to the others, like this is better than In the Darkness, and well, Beyond was great.
Now that I can look back on it more, I think this was a much better film than I give it credit for. It was entertaining. It did have some messages going on, and I think it did a really good job of setting up, a more accessible Star Trek and a vehicle to tell some Star Trek stories that aren't bound by just 50 years of previous canon.
Well, that about wraps up everything for Star Trek 09. Chris, are we going to keep going? We're going to do Star Trek 10 and jump into our TNG?
Yeah, next time we're going to be doing Star Trek Nemesis.
You know I'm going to have my TNG goggles on. I'm just going to say I love everything, right?
Nemesis?
I'll try.
Ooh. All right.
I will try. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you around.
See ya.